A new survey by the Confederation of Indian Industry suggests that private investments and employment growth in India are on the rise. Nearly 3/4 of the firms surveyed feel that current economic environment is ideal for private investment, and that 97% of them plan to boost hiring over the next 2 financial years.
Now, the survey reveals very promising insights into the economy, but the road ahead may depend on how these projections actually translate into reality and how they have in the past too. As India aims for GDP growth of 6.4% this fiscal year, can the optimism of private players steer us towards even stronger numbers eventually?
So that's the survey that came out in India. But India's tech ambitions are also soaring high, and Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has made some big revelations as well. So like we said, we're looking at the story in two perspectives. One from an India lens with the survey, and then we get your voices from Davos to sort of make sense of what's happening globally. So this one coming in from Switzerland.
This is a first that India is doing, and this is what's different this time around. Take me through what was the thought process here.
Well, the thought process was that India Pavilion should be unified pavilion, it should be integrated, and our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji got this feedback last year after last Davos, and he insisted and he gave us a very clear thought process that we should have all the state pavilions integrated within the India Pavilion. Then we spoke to the chief ministers, and all of them were very happy to actually be a part of this thought process, and that's why we have this entire India Pavilion.
Yes.
As one unified, one integrated pavilion.
Absolutely. As I said, technically under two roofs, because you have Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and the third one over here was...
so logically it is one.
Yes, that's
it's basically
right.
the same
That's
building,
right.
yeah.
And then of course you have on the other side you have Telangana, UP and Kerala. But Mr. Vaishnav, let's start by talking about the pitch here that you continue to make to investors in an AI-driven world, in an AI-led world. You've just finished a roundtable with people in the semiconductor space.
Yeah.
What's the feedback that you're getting? What's the status update on semicon?
So the confidence that people have on our government, on our policies, on our leadership is huge. What we can see very clearly is people had a lot of skepticism a few years ago, but now they are very clear that India is having a consistent growth. India's policies are very clear. Prime Minister Modi ji's entire thrust on having a very strong technological base in our country is very real. So people today in the morning, they were saying, just 3 years back we heard that there is a semicon program starting in India, and today you have 5 units where the construction is in very advanced stage, and the first chip will roll out in this year itself. So that gives a lot of tremendous confidence to the people. So we just had a small kind of announcement that Inox will be the materials partner for Micron as well as Tata's, and that's a very big thing because we were used to manufacturing in parts per million. Now we have to manufacture chemicals, gases in parts per billion purity, right?
Yes.
So that requires tremendous investment in R&D, in your manufacturing capabilities, in the process purities. All that thing is happening now. So that gives a lot of confidence. The second thing is people know that we have a huge AI talent pool in the country, and people have taken very strong note of the approach that we have taken. We have taken this approach of having public investment to create a AI 10,000 GPU compute facility, which will be available to everybody. So I heard in the morning session as well as yesterday and in this session also, people really like this facility because the startups don't get the opportunity to have that compute facility. And in our case, because our Prime Minister always says that we must democratize technology. So democratize technology means it should be accessible to all. And this is one construct that we have been able to very successfully create. So this was also highly appreciated.
Okay, let's hear from other voices now. Despite international headlines, India is and continues to be on the discussion agenda for global investors and CEOs at Davos. Here's Rajan Mittal on why India is being hailed as a trusted partner, a bright spot in this larger story. Take a look.
I want to begin by asking you about the mood this time at Davos. Obviously, Trump and AI loom large, but what's the perception about India? What's the perception about Prime Minister Modi? What are you picking up from your conversations here?
I think, yes, a little bit Trump inauguration did overshadow, but I think from Indian point of view, I've had conversations with global CEOs, with investors. India mood remains very bright. I think everybody who I have spoken to, they believe that India is on the right path. It is the fastest growing economy in any case, and both stability of political leadership by the Prime Minister and manufacturing is getting a lot of traction. So they are finding that India needs to become their partner, their trusted source and trusted partner as they move, China plus one strategy. So India is in a bright spot, I would say.
Right. Coming back to Bharti, what's the preparedness in terms of OneWeb? Because what we are hearing is Defence has already started using services of OneWeb under OneWeb's pilot license.
Well, we are ready. In Gujarat, one in Tamil Nadu, we have our base stations ready to receive. We are waiting for spectrum allocation to happen. Some test pilots are already going on, and successful test pilots are going on. And we are ready to roll our services as soon as we get the permissions.
Right. And how do you see competition from Starlink?
We are a product of competition. We've seen telecom competition where there were 13, 14 players. We believe in competition is more than welcome as long as there's a level playing field. That's all the industry seeks, and we also seek the same thing, that whatever the rules of engagement are, they must have a level playing field.
Right. What do you make of the overall dynamics in the telco industry, sir? Is Vodafone completely out of the woods enough to be a formidable competition to rivals such as you and Jio?
No, I don't think so. He's out of the woods. I mean, we have seen that they have raised some money. They should be back on track. They've already made some announcements, and we believe it's a healthy for a country size like India. It is healthy enough for three private players and BSNL.
Right. Also, sir, will BSNL be a strong rival in the future?
Well, I can see that we are seeing that BSNL more investments are coming in. As we said, for a country size of India, three private players and BSNL should be a healthy competition.
So those were two different voices coming in from the World Economic Forum, one from the government, other from a private player. But what exactly were the other takeaways that come from Davos? Let's look at a roundup coming in from Chandra.
It's been a pretty eventful World Economic Forum here. We are in Davos, but all the attention has actually been on Washington, where President Trump took charge for the second time as the President of the United States. He signed off on many executive orders. He also addressed delegates at the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum here virtually. So a lot of eyes on Washington, on US, and what it will mean for the world order as we know it. Are we entering a phase of deglobalization from globalization? But net, if you look at what the new Trump regime means, people are largely hopeful that it is a net positive for India, because the US will look to work with countries that are neutral democracies, and India, of course, being one of them. So they believe that India will be the beneficiary of the realignment of supply chains of the entire China plus one strategy. If you look at India's approach this time, 6 Indian states visited Davos, but unlike previous years where they would be on different pavilions on the promenade, they were actually housed within 2 areas, because India wanted an integrated India pavilion, one nation, one pavilion. That was the approach. So it was a joint pitch by the states and the centre. Of course, the big highlights were Andhra Pradesh's Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, who was actually one of the first people from India who was a Davos regular for many years. So he's been meeting a lot of high-profile leaders. We also had Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, Revant Reddy from Telangana, apart from representatives from Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh and Kerala. So broadly, even the business leaders we spoke to are hopeful that 2025 will be a great year, and all of them, whether it's global leaders or Indian business leaders, all of them in unison say that India is a bright spot in an uncertain world, and that all eyes are on India, and that India can emerge as a third pole after the US and China. So those were some of the key highlights from the World Economic Forum here.